And now we're here in Crokepark, and I'm with, I suppose, the head of the Willis clan. Is that the best way to describe you? Or the mama? Is that how you have to say?
Yeah, I would say the mama. Actually, okay. I would defer to my husband as the head of the Willis clan.
Gosh, that's very sexist
but I'm
nowadays.
The mama. Well, it's the way we work.
Okay,
it works for us.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. And can I just describe to our listeners that there's 12 children in this amazing group,
yes.
And you're here in Ireland to launch your album here in Ireland. That's basically, and of course we're here at the conference in Crokepark.
Right.
But you have great Irish background, you were saying.
I do, actually. So my great-grandparents were both born in County Mayo, and years passed, and I really didn't know much about my heritage. And then my husband and I, after we started having children, went and saw Riverdance, and we were just completely taken with the music and the culture and the dancing, and just thought it was amazing. So we got our children involved in Irish dancing.
Right. Okay.
And then after they started competing in the feshes and the Oireachtas, my mother came and said, "You do know you're Irish, right?" And I was like, "No, really. This,
right.
I'm really connected to this in a real way." So I started seeking out my genealogy and was actually able to find relatives that are still there in Swinford, in County Mayo.
Lovely.
So that's kind of our journey to where we are now.
Right. And now, how do you, I have 3 boys, and I have difficulty trying to control 3 boys. How do you control all 12 of these lovely kids?
Well, I think 3 is the hardest. I really do.
Okay.
Mom has 1, and then mom and dad each have 1. And then when you get that 3rd one, you go from man-to-man defense to zone defense. Once you get that figured out, it becomes much easier after that. So you kind of stopped when it was at the hardest.
Okay.
It gets easier after that.
Does it? Okay.
But you know what? They have great camaraderie. They enjoy what they do. They enjoy traveling. And I say, look, if you want to do this, you're going to have to behave and you're going to have to get along.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to behave and not get along, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And they really enjoy traveling and all the friends that they meet around the world. So, it works out. They want to do this. I'm not forcing them to.
Well, that's great because, there are so many unfortunate people we see on television that have been forced into this particular type of business.
Right.
But really, you're right. If the kids aren't enjoying it or they're, there's no point. Now, I have to point out to our listeners that these people are absolute superstars in the States. And so you're living in Nashville at the moment.
We do.
So can I just say that, as I said, and what's the album called? And what kind of music? Because our listeners wouldn't be. Now, I will play some of the music on Monday.
Great.
But what kind of music should our listeners be listening out to that you play?
So our first album was traditional Irish. Although it was all original pieces, it was all inspired by traditional Irish. And that's how our kids got started in music. Of course, they saw the river dance, they were doing the dancing, then we started competing at the FLA.
Right.
And in 2012, the children actually won the FLA as an American band, the senior group Kewell division, which is very unusual for an American group to win. So our first album came off of that and was traditional Irish. But then when we moved to Nashville, we started realizing that the Irish music was the basis for all the bluegrass music.
Yes.
And we started seeing the connection there. So our second album is all bluegrass and country music. So that's the album that's being released.
Right.
It's called Chapter 2, Boots. And so the first album was Chapter 1, Roots. And now Chapter 2, Boots. And that's the one that's being released now. And so I think the listeners will enjoy sort of the country and bluegrass feel to the album. And that's what we like to perform here. When we come over here and we perform our Irish, we get polite applause. But when we perform our bluegrass and our country, they go insane. They go mental, as you would say over here.
Yes, really
glad
you're getting the lingo anyway. Yeah,
we're working on it.
Yeah, you're working on it. Yeah, you're working on it.
But yeah, they really enjoy it very much. So that's what we play mostly. And then we actually do have a third album out, and it's called Heaven. And that is a little bit more maybe in the style of the Corrs. They were a big influence on us.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's a bit of a more mainstream feel, but with Irish instrumentation. So there's uilleann pipes, and there's fiddle, and accordion, and Irish whistle, and all those instruments on the album as well. But a bit of a more mainstream feel. And actually that album is doing quite well. It made it all the way up to number 6 on the iTunes pop charts.
Brilliant.
Above Beyonce and some of the other big name artists out there. So we're very excited about that. I believe Chapter 2 Boots right now is number 2 on the Billboard Bluegrass charts.
Gosh,
so
that's
doing
fantastic.
really
well.
That's
brilliant.
Very excited
Absolutely
about
fantastic. And how many days have you been here in Ireland, and what do you hope to go and see?
We actually were here, we've been here 2 days so far. We came because Nashville and Belfast are sister cities, and our family has been named the musical ambassadors from Nashville to Belfast.
Brilliant.
So the Lord Mayor was having some sister cities events in Belfast, so we went up there and started our week off there, and we played for the Lord Mayor's dinner and had a lovely time there. And then we actually got a half day of free time and was able to go to Giant's Causeway.
Fabulous
and we
spot.
walked all 13 of us walked across the Calgary rope bridge.
Okay.
And so we did it. Even the baby, number 5,
right, okay.
5 years old, walked out all the way across and back. And then we came down to Dublin, and we'll be playing for the Lord Mayor's dinner this evening
lovely.
as
Yes,
well. And
yes.
then Sunday we'll be playing the halftime show at Crokepark
Yes.
during the first game between Cavan and Tyrone.
Yes,
So we're
brilliant.
excited.
I have to say. Now, the other thing which is kind of interesting is all the children's names begin with J. Is that correct?
Yes, they all do.
How did that come about?
You know, I wish I had a very interesting
Right,
and
okay.
crazy story,
Nothing,
but I really
just-
don't. My husband and I loved the name Jessica, and that was our first child. And then our boys, we had several names planned out, but we just happened to pick the first one that was a J name. And then if Jennifer had been a boy, she would have gotten a name that didn't have a J.
Right,
But she
okay.
was a girl, and we liked the name Jenny. And then the fourth child came along, and again, would have been a boy, but a different name, but we named her after Toby's mother, who's Janet. We named her
Right,
Jeanette.
okay.
So when it came down to number 5, we said, do we stick with it? Because you've already got 4 J's. And he was number 5, and we ended up naming him Jackson. He was Jackson 5. So
well, you'd have to.
So,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
yes.
So that's Jack. And after that, we just figured we better stick with it. Yeah.
Well, look, all I can say is continued success. I've met some of the children, and they're an absolute joy and a credit to you.
Thank you so much.
And wish you continued success here in Ireland and back home.
Well, I do want to say that we're coming back,
All
and
right.
we will be back here June 14th all the way through July 11th. And we have gigs in Athy and in Cavan and at the INEC in Killarney and at the Cork Opera House. So we're very excited about all that.
Yes, brilliant.
Yes, we're very
Okay.
excited. And then we will be back again in August, and we will be playing the Gig Rig in Ennis at the Fla.
Lovely.
And we will also be playing the Rose of Tralee. So we have
Fabulous.
a lot of wonderful
stuff
things
to
going
go.
on.
You're a very busy lady. Well, look, as I said, continued success, and thanks for talking to us on the FM. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.